Riverside, California. Have you heard of it? Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the pros and the cons of living in Riverside, California. Right? I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm going to explain to you why Riverside, California has a mass flock of people migrating to the Riverside, California area, right? Why are people living in these major cities, leaving these major cities such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, Phoenix, right? Chicago, New York. If I'm throwing your city out there, I apologize. It's just the truth, right? I'm going to explain why they're moving out of there, what's going on, right? And what Riverside, California really has to offer. So stay tuned because we're going to get after it right now. So if you've already watched my 2022 pro and con video of Riverside, California, then you have an idea and a gist of what I'm already talking about. Well, for 2023, I'm going to switch it up and add some additional pros that have kind of changed throughout the year, and also, you know, maybe for the better or possibly for the worst when we get to the cons, right? These are things that you definitely have to consider if you're trying to make a move to Riverside, California. Also, not just my pro and con video, but did you see the vlog tour that I posted in that Google Map tour? That's definitely going to give you the outline and the visual aspect if is Riverside, California the right place for you. So definitely want to check those out. Now, Riverside, California, I'm just going to let you know, it's a growing city, right? Again, mass migration of people are just flocking into the Riverside, California area. There's a reason that Riverside County is the third fastest growing county in the nation. There's a reason for that, right? I want to say thank you to my people from Los Angeles, right? I'm from Los Angeles, so I can say that. I can make fun of you guys, right? I'm just kidding. No, in reality though, yes, we are seeing that mass flock of people migrating from the big major cities. So one thing you definitely want to consider, right? Because hey, it's not just here in California, but it's all over the world. We're seeing people from Chicago, Illinois. We got people from Thailand moving over here. We got people from China. We got people from Italy. We just have everyone trying to move to this area, to the central hub of Riverside. Why? Why is that, right? That's the million-dollar question. Well, in this video, hopefully it breaks down why that is. Why is there mass migration to Riverside? What does it really have to offer that is making it so appealing and so gosh dang amazing, right? And so that's what we're going to cover in this video. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, you want to know everything that there is about living in Riverside, then you definitely want to subscribe below and tap that bell for notifications, right? So you can be the first to know about the current market here in Riverside. Now, my name is Jonathan. We get the calls, texts, emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're deciding to move in that 9 days, 90 days, or even 900 days, you could always give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'll love to help you make that smooth move to Riverside, California. On to pro number one. So pro number one of living in Riverside, California, and I've said this last year, and this is the one that is going to remain, and that is, bottom line, affordability, right? Affordability makes a big factor of whether or not you're going to be moving to an area. And you definitely want to be comfortable, keep that way of life in good standing. You just want a good quality of life. So the affordability here in Riverside, California is definitely there when you're comparing it to big major city and all these coastal cities around Riverside, California, right? For example, again, I said it earlier, my Los Angeles, I love you guys. I'm from LA myself, but we all know LA is becoming unaffordable, right? Your quality of life is going down. The same thing that you can get in San Francisco or San Jose, that's a 3-bed, 2-bath that you're gonna pay 1.1 million for, is the same thing that you can get in Riverside for half the cost, right? And not big of a headache. So, I mean, that's just one big major factor is the affordability. And again, people from New York that you're paying that $3,000 for that 1-bedroom, that sucks. I know, trust me. And so that's why we're seeing this mass migration of people from major cities moving into Riverside, California. Well, why is that? Well, in the next pro, I'm going to explain to you why is Riverside becoming that mass migration for, you know, people from all these major cities, but not limited to major cities, also small towns. So let's move on to pro number 2. Pro number 2 of living in Riverside. And now I just said affordability, right? Well, coming off of affordability, why a lot of major people from major cities are moving to Riverside is because location is just phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that to say that, right? Because if you're moving from a major city, and I'm using just LA for a prime example in this video, right? If you're moving from LA, at least you know you're moving an hour inland, but you know that, hey, if you want to go back to LA to go, you know, do the touristy thing, and you want to go to the beaches or Hollywood Boulevard, Universal Studios, you know, there's so much thing that LA definitely has to offer. It's a fun city to get out and about, right? Well, just know that, hey, that's only an hour away. Possibly you want to go to sunny San Diego here in Southern California. You know, an hour and a half to 2 hours later, you're in beautiful sunny San Diego, enjoying the amazing beaches there and everything that San Diego has to offer. If you haven't checked out Old Town San Diego, it's definitely a must, right? So the location is amazing. Maybe you're not about that beach life. You're just kind of more of a mountainy, outdoorsy type of person, right? You like to go hiking, you like to go mountain biking. Well, you got Big Bear right up the road, right? So Big Bear, California, where you can do all those amazing things. And during the winter time, you can go snowboarding. You definitely can go skiing, right? And you can go out there tubing and sledding, etc. So those are options. Or maybe you're not that person. You just kind of like to chill, right? I like to chill too, right? But you want to go to Palm Springs, enjoy the weekend getaway, get those massages, just enjoy that time out there and just wind and relax. That is one major factor, is the location can give you all of these things, right? You're not going to get that in New York City or Chicago or, you know, Dallas, Texas. You just won't, unfortunately. But Riverside, California will give you that. And it doesn't feel too small because the population has 320,000 people. So it's a great place. Now that's going to cover pro number 2. Moving on to pro number 3. Now, pro number 3 of living in Riverside, California, and that is going to be community and diversity, right? So that's something I've kind of changed up a bit. What about community and diversity that makes it so great? Well, if you're deciding to relocate to the Riverside area, I'm going to let you know, neighborhood wise, you're definitely going to have some options, right? You can live in the downtown Riverside area, the wood streets of Riverside, Orange Crest, Canyon Crest, Wood Crest, a lot of crests, right? Arlington, or maybe Magnolia Center. These are just neighborhoods that I'm spitting out of my mouth, just coming out of the top of my head. But yes, these are neighborhoods within Riverside itself that all have a different type of culture to it and a different type of community vibe. So culture-wise, there's a lot that Riverside offers with its historic, right? Historic old time and everything that Riverside has to offer in the kind of beginning of the metropolitan area of the greater Los Angeles, right? Riverside just has some history. Like, what do I mean by history? I mean, it definitely has history. You're gonna find some houses, original homes from like the 1920s, 1930s of the settlers of really what made Riverside today, right? Riverside, what was made of Riverside today is because, I'll be honest, Los Angeles kind of made Riverside grow into what it is, because over the years, this big city of Los Angeles that has, you know, a population of 4 million plus people has just seen an exodus. And well, we're better to move to than right down the street to this beautiful city of Riverside. Well, all these people that moved to brought all this amazing culture with it, and it's making it such a great place. So you definitely have that diversity there, right? You're gonna have your Asian Pacific type of environment. You're gonna have that Hispanic type of environment, or Italian, right? And so that what makes Riverside such just a great area, so diverse community, right? And so that is gonna cover pro number 3. Let's move on to pro number 4. Pro number 4, and these are, you know, this pro is really for those parents out there. It's a very family-friendly environment. So if you are someone that has that family or is going to have a family in the future, you need to know that Riverside is a great place to raise a family. There's so much going on with museums, you know, arcades, some outdoor amusement parks. It's just a great city to be. Not only does it offer the inside amenities, right, but I'm also talking about outside amenities, right? You can do walking trails, a little bit of ponds and lakes here out throughout the city or in the surrounding area. So it's not a bad place whatsoever if you're trying to raise kids, but not just on top of the family friendly when it comes to doing the activities, but also you definitely have some great education. And so I'm kind of mixing the education with family friendly, but education is also really great in some areas of Riverside. And not to mention, they do host some universities. So that's another big major plus. So again, if you are looking for that family friendly environment, then Riverside, California is going to give you that. So it's going to be another great option. So now we're going to move on to pro number 5 and the final pro of living in Riverside, California. Now, pro number 5 and my personal favorite pro, right, is Riverside food scene. Now, I'm a foodie myself. I love the food. But let me tell you, when it comes to living in Riverside and what Riverside has to offer, the food scene is on point, right? You got the Mexican cuisine, you got the Asian cuisine, you got Mediterranean, you got American classics, you got global fusion, you got food trucks, you got vegan and vegetarian. I'm just naming everything, and I'm being very honest, not to mention, hey, let's not forget our bakeries too, right? And so that is just an amazing thing of Riverside. It has a multicultural, vibrant type of feel that gives you all of these options. And myself, I'm a foodie, and if you didn't know, you know that's a fun fact about me, is that I love to eat. So if you're trying to take me out for some coffee or some lunch or dinner or something, it better be something amazing, okay? No, I'm just kidding. But at any rate, yes, the food scene is amazing in Riverside. Well, again, because you do have that diversity in culture, you're gonna get all these amazing things, right? Let's not forget our Italian, because, man, I love me some good pastas, I'm not gonna lie. And so that's just one great thing about Riverside, again, is it does have that diversity in culture that gives us an amazing food scene. So if you're one of those that love to travel and go vlogging for food, Riverside's going to be a great area, and not just Riverside, but the surrounding area as well. So that's going to cover all the pros of living in Riverside. Let's jump into con number 1. All right, moving into con number 1, and this is something that you're probably already expecting, right? And you're probably going to be like, Jonathan, dang it, Jonathan, we know, right? No, it is going to be the traffic congestion. Yes, I know, you probably just threw your hat on the ground like I did. No, it's becoming, more of a bigger issue nowadays, right? Because of the fact that, yes, we're having a mass migration to Riverside. You gotta expect, right, with all these people coming, are adding all these extra vehicles on the roads, which is becoming a little bit more of a hassle. So you need to know this. Yes, if you're trying to move to Riverside, if you're not working from home, just know that you're gonna be sitting in some traffic. Now, I'm not saying the city of Riverside is not gonna be working on it. However, it's just one of those things that, hey, it's here for now, and you need to know that it's a serious thing. Traffic's going to be there, especially during those peak hours. Before, in the past couple years back, like more than 10 years, traffic wasn't as horrible as it is today, but you can definitely see it grow because of just the mass migration of people. So for now, you just really have to suck it up. I'm just bottom line. Unless you're going to be carpooling with somebody, just know that, hey, traffic is going to be there. And during the peak hours, it's at the worst of the worst. So just covering con number 1, moving on to con number 2. So con number 2, put my hat back on here. Con number 2, you need to know, right, especially if you're moving from other cities or possibly even the coast, the weather's a little bit different. So con number 2, you're gonna have some hot summer months, all right? Hot summer months. So you're gonna expect some of these months, some of the days throughout the summer months, it's gonna be over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, right? I gotta throw in the Fahrenheit for my people that are watching worldwide. So yes, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You're gonna see probably 20 days out of the 101 days of summer, about 20 of those days are probably gonna be over 95 degrees, right, Fahrenheit, because of the simple fact of where it's geographically located a little bit closer to the Inland Empire, heading into the desert, right before the desert. But yes, you can have some hot summer days, such as I'm recording this video right now, and we're gonna have 100-degree weather all week long here. whew, it's getting hot. All right, so if you're moving to Riverside, I recommend you get a pool. All right, which you absolutely can. They're out there. So yes, you're gonna have some hot weather out here. So that's something, if you're not used to, you need to be prepared for, because you know it's not Las Vegas dry hot weather, but it is still pretty warm. So again, if you're not used to it, I'm just gonna tell you, you're gonna have to hydrate a little bit more during the summer months, because it can get a little brutal at times. So definitely something to consider is that it definitely has its warm days in Riverside, California. Now that's going to cover con number 2. Moving on to con number 3. Con number 3 of living in Riverside, California, and that's that limited public transportation. If you're one of these people that are moving in from a major city such as LA or New York or San Fran, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. You have all the public transportation, you know, in the palm of your hand. You can go in that subway, you can go in that train, or you can jump on a cab like nothing, right? There's so many different variables of public transportation in bigger cities. Now, I'm not saying that Riverside isn't a big city. However, well, there's a reason for traffic congestion. There's limited public transportation. Yes, there's buses, absolutely, but we don't have those underground subways like New York City, you know, a lot of trains and et cetera, right? So that's one thing to consider, is that more than likely, if you're moving to Riverside, you're gonna have to own some type of transportation yourself, whether it's a car or a moped or a bicycle, or you wanna get rollerblades. You gotta move with something, because again, more than likely, you're not going to have that easy public transportation like you would want, unless you're living around that downtown Riverside area. So something to definitely consider if you're deciding to move to Riverside is the limited public transportation. So that's going to cover con number 3. Moving on to con number 4. Now, finishing off with our final con here. This is something that, hey, just got to bring up, and that's natural disasters. While we're not prone to tornadoes or hurricanes and stuff like that, you need to know that we are prone to other things, such as fires, right? You can see on the news all the time, oh, hey, look, California's on fire again, right? No, that's a serious thing, right? We do get a lot of wildfires out here. Not just that, but hey, earthquakes, right? You definitely see on the news, California just had another earthquake, right? Well, those two things are the major things that we get here for as natural disasters. Not to mention, sometimes we do get in a drought, right? So if you can't deal with that kind of that heat and that drought, and know that you got to cut back on your water sometimes, or you don't like the air quality when it comes to fires, or you're just scared of earthquakes, that's something that you do have to consider, because we do get that here in Riverside, California. We get all of that. So again, a major factor to consider, especially if you're coming from, you know, a place where you don't get much natural disasters, right? You don't get those earthquakes, you don't get fires, you don't get droughts, right? That's something that we do get. And so that's something you definitely want to consider, because it can play into the factor of whether or not Riverside is the place for you. Overall, that's going to cover all the pros of living in Riverside, California. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to share with you a little recap of all the pros and the cons, and what I really discussed, and whether or not Riverside, California is the right place for you or not. So moving on to market recap. So here we are, market recap time. Basically, bottom line, is Riverside the right place for you, right? Well, I'm going to let you know, with all the pros that I gave and all the cons, yes, there is some ugly within living in Riverside. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, and that's perfectly okay. There's nowhere that is. Not that I know of, unless you guys want to tell me of someplace, right? Well, in my personal opinion, I do enjoy Riverside. I love Riverside, and because I'm prone to a lot of these things, such as the traffic, right? I know I'm in it every day, right? I'm used to fires, I'm used to earthquakes. In my own honest opinion, I think Riverside is a great city, and I firmly believe the pros can definitely outweigh the cons. But if you don't see the same, I totally understand, because not everyone has been in a situation or an area like this that is just a little bit changing, right? Because limited public transportation, especially if you're coming from a major city, it can be a big issue to you, just because, you know, you're used to that, and that's what you've known your whole life. Or possibly you're just not ready for this heat that we have, right? Because again, there is going to be those hot summer months throughout the year where it's going to be a little bit brutal, and if you're not used to it and you don't like it, that's going to be another thing to consider. But overall, some of the pros that come with it definitely are eye-appealing, not just affordability, right? But everything else that comes with it, being a multicultural, diverse area, having a bunch of options as far as foods, or, you know, just a great location when you have unlimited things to do in Southern California. And I'm not just saying that to say that, it's the honest truth. There's limited things to do. And so that's one big, just major factor, right? Can your pros outweigh your cons, or can your cons, or do your cons outweigh the pros, right? That's something for you to decide. But this is going to wrap up this video. If you have questions or comments, definitely comment down below. I'd love to reach out with you and talk to you and reply to anything you have. Thanks for watching. Living in South California.